right, so we just pulled up to the gym. Today we are gonna do a pull workout. That means I'm annihilating my posterior chain. We're gonna do a lot of rows, a lot of pulls, a little bit of hip hinging, and really just focusing on the back side of my body the entire time. This is gonna work great with a push-pull alternating split. This could be a full body push-pull or a push-pull leg split, like a typical bodybuilding program, much like what you see in the Boom Boom Elite, our membership site. All right, let's get into this workout. All right, so the first exercise we are going to start with is a tall kneeling lat pull-in. I will link a specific video to this in the description, but this is just one of my favorite exercises to use to really activate the lats before we start, because it gives you a good pull, but it also allows you to laterally flex your torso, which is one of the key movements or duties of the lats, one that a lot of people don't understand. But this is a great one if you struggle to truly feel your lats work in any exercise. If you need to learn how to activate them, learn how to find that mind-muscle connection, this is your exercise. You can do it in the half kneeling or the tall kneeling position. I'm in a half kneeling here just because I have a bad knee. I'm just recovering from surgery still. So my preference and how I program it for most clients is almost always going to be the tall kneeling position. It's just easier to laterally flex your torso and get that lat to fully contract when in that tall kneeling position. You could also do it in a seated position or even a standing position. The big key here is the cable is pulled up high and it is to the side of you and you are laterally pulling it in. Right after that, after we have successfully accomplished activating the lats, getting them to work, we're going to go right into a lat pull down. The biggest thing I want you guys to notice here is my scapula. See, when we do a pull down or a chin up, our job from a joint perspective is to not only retract, but actually predominantly depress, so actually pull the scapula down. A lot of people don't fully understand how to do that, or they just do not have the connection with their body from a joint by joint perspective in order to do that. If you can successfully accomplish that, you're going to get way more lat activation, you're going to get a lot more stress on the muscle, you're going to build a lot more muscle, and you're going to save your joints in the long run. So I encourage you to use the pull down before you actually use a chin up, or if you want to load your lats, use the pull down in any variation, in any grip style, before you do a loaded chin up or any AMRAP chin up style. Really focus on activating the lats and using that scapula properly. Same exact concept with the seated cable row. As you notice, this is a functional day, but I'm using a lot of cables, so you might be a little confused, as usually quote-unquote functional training is predominantly free weights and kettlebells and barbells and Bosu balls and things like that. But the reality is functional just means that you are utilizing your body in a way that is conducive to real life functions. So what I want you guys to focus on here is how I move my body, not necessarily what I use in order to move my body. So the modality or the exercise or the equipment is irrelevant. How I am doing these rows is relevant. So as you can see in this one, this is just a loaded horizontal row. One of the most fundamental movements that everybody should be doing is just a loaded, heavy horizontal row. Super safe on your shoulders and really working that posterior chain. But my goal here is to actually allow my shoulders to roll forward into protraction, stretch the lats, and then again, retract my scapula as I row. And you're going to notice the same thing here with this one arm dumbbell row. However, the difference here is that I'm going a little bit faster tempo, and the reason being is because I'm in a staggered stance. The weight is pulling me down. There is some anti-rotation here, so my core is going to be turning on a lot more. Very similar to a croc row where your body actually does rotate and you allow it as long as you're controlling that movement. It's actually going to work the anti-rotation job of your core quite well, which is something I actually do suggest doing. So allow that a little bit. But my goal here is really to just, again, hit those lats hard. I'm driving my elbow pretty low, and I'm just making sure that my shoulder is actually retracted back. So keeping that joint by joint approach in mind. Next, we have the seated Z row. I call this a Z row because similar to the Z press, I'm seated on the floor, my knees are locked out in a V-shaped position, and I actually have to create a lot of stability with not only my core but my thoracic spine in order to just brace and control this position while rowing. The goal here is to pull from a high angle. You can do a lat pull down leaning back. You can do a hammer strength pull down machine. You can do a lot of different variations of this. I just prefer cables because the resistance curve is constant. All I'm trying to do here is pull from that high angle. So I'm still doing a horizontal row, but it's coming from a much higher angle, which is something I haven't done in this workout yet. We've done the flat horizontal row. We've done the pull down straight overhead. We've done the dumbbell loaded row with a little bit of spinal and core rotation in there. And now we're doing the high angle row. All right, so next we have the dumbbell pullover. So as you know, it's pretty obvious by now, we are doing quite a bit of volume on the posterior chain. That's what this day is all about. And the reason for that is simple. We should probably be doing twice as much pulling as pushing. Basically, we want to work our posterior chain a little bit more than our anterior chain. In fact, twice as much. And the reason for that is simple. Avoid aches and pains over time, keep you in the gym for longer, and allow your body to handle more stress and volume in the gym, which is what creates results. The pullover is something I like adding in any variation. You can use a rope, you can use a dumbbell like myself, you can even do some variations with a barbell or a rollout. The reason for this is simple. I really want to stretch my lats. So we've gone through so many different angles and different contractions of the lats and of the back, and now we're just simply doing a stretch phase. The stretch is going to enhance muscular breakdown, and we really want that. After we have done the stretch phase of the movement, we've kind of gone through every type of contraction. We've kind of gone through every type of angle. Now we're going to a rack pull. I switched this up for a couple of reasons. Number one, I just had knee surgery, so I do not feel comfortable doing a heavy rack pull in the rack with a barbell. So I'm using the Smith machine, and I'm adding a Shrug at the top. What I would recommend most of you doing if you did not just come off of an injury like I did, do this in the rack, load it up, go heavy. Just pull from below your knees so you're getting just that top range of motion and really firing your lats. If you want to do it like I did it, you can add the Shrug at the top just to add more volume on your traps, but that's totally up to you. Once we get done with that, we're actually going to finish with this last final exercise, and it's just a back extension. So there's a couple ways you can do this. I'm doing it for thoracic purposes, so I'm actually trying to work my thoracic spine. That's why I'm rounding, and then I'm extending. You can also do this as a glute ham variation where you drive your hips into the pad if you're more focused on your glutes and hamstrings. Or you can do a little bit more extension from the lumbar spine if you're really trying to work on that Christmas tree and actually work your spinal erectors towards the bottom if you need to strengthen your low back. This is an exercise that can create a lot of fatigue, so we're only doing 2 sets of this. Doing too much volume or weight can cause issues. All right, so we just finished a functional pull workout. I always say functional because I'm so big on using the joints properly while we are trying to stress the muscle. Tension in the muscle, not the joints. That's what's going to lead to longevity and success in the gym with your body composition. So I hope you guys like this workout just like you did the last one. Go give this a try. Let us know how you felt after the workout, and make sure you like this video, comment if you like it, and check out the rest of our content at boomboomperformance.com.